cutting edge of anomaly research. You are about to experience The Evidence with your host, 3D pioneer and image analyst with Mars X3D, D.W. Gannett.
Well, hi there, and welcome back to episode number 71 of The Evidence. This is your buddy Dave over at Mars X3D. And I just got off a great conference call with my friend Chris Maureen over at Mars Anomalies and Beyond. If you're not already subscribed there, you need to check it out. He's real good at what he does. And, we've been working on some plans for 2021. Some real interesting plans that I think you're going to enjoy. It'll be a pleasant surprise. And even talking with the good old Jimmy Roberts over there at the Real Jimmy Roberts 1. And, I am so proud to have these guys as friends and colleagues because they do serious research. They're not full of baloney like so many of them are. And showing you little tiny people and dragons and a lady in a blue dress and all of that stuff. Anyway, very glad that you're here with us. If you don't know X3D, that's what this channel is all about. There's a link below. You can learn it in 2 minutes or less. It's super easy, and you can see all of the things here in big, clear format X3D stereo. A magic window, if you will, onto the surface of Mars. No equipment needed, no admission needed. Just learn the technique. And here we go. Anyway, there have been some really cool things that have shown up in the past week, and I can't wait to share them with you. So let's get to it.
Raymond Glassford is one of our team members out in sunny Arizona, and he sent me a link to this MastCam image from Sol 508. We both found more than a few anomalies in this one, but I'm going to focus on some cubical items, the ones back there in the target area. It's probably just a coincidence, but I found it interesting to note how these 3 cubic anomalies all lined up in a row. We could spend a lot of time on the other stuff in this particular image, but I do need to keep things moving along. You can see the one in front presents a square base with what looks like a worn pyramid on top. I'm reminded of those dock posts you find along the ocean front that sport a pyramid on top to discourage seagulls from landing on them. We know that ancient Mars was an ocean planet, so it's tempting to imagine this serving a similar purpose back in the day. Notice also on the right side, lower down, there are 3 tabs that look like piano keys, evenly spaced, with perfect hemispherical knobs on top. And just above, an X-shaped opening or carving. What's that all about? Moving back to the middle one, we find another cube perfectly balanced on one corner. The markings on top include another X, and it looks like there's another cube just to the left showing the same balanced position. Just in back of that is another small white cube, half buried in the sand. Moving to the one in back, we find yet another cube, this one giving the appearance of being metallic. And there's a detail that's hard to see on the front surface, but if your monitor and lighting permit, you can see a checkerboard pattern of what seem to be square holes. Taken together, these 5 cubes present an intriguing mystery. Either Mars has geologic processes unlike anything we see anywhere else, or these are silent signposts pointing to a once great vanished civilization. Our colleague Maureen Marcus pointed out this loaded image from Sol 1384 just recently. As you can see from the 4 targets in this context view, there's a lot to see here. Now, most of what you're about to see isn't strictly non-fractal, so that puts them into kind of a gray zone as far as being hardcore anomalies, but they're worth looking at. I couldn't even begin to tell you what this thing might be, but I'm intrigued by that perfect semicircular shape on the left, and that arrow straight line separating it from the rest of the boulder. Maybe if we could flip it over and see what the rest of it looks like, we could get a better idea. Something like this might possibly form naturally, but it does seem a stretch to me. And what in blazes is this thing? It looks like something that was molten and had a big bubble on the inside that popped and then immediately solidified. Either that or it's the remains of a bearded clam. And both of these items look out of place. And if they're just rocks, then I'd sure like to add them to my rock collection. Anytime I see a near perfect square with a knob or other kind of attachment dead center, well, you can't blame me for thinking that it's not natural. And honestly, I don't have a clue what this might be. It kind of looks like a turbine cover that you find on generators in a power plant. Is this just crazy erosion or something that was made on purpose ages ago and beat almost to death by time? And finally, we've got this thing and its partner just in back. Are these machine remnants, architectural components, or just plain old rocks? Here's why the one in front strikes me as being artificial. Those angles and planes look way too precise to be natural, at least to my worn-out eyes. Anyway, props to Mo for hitting the mother lode on this one. As I was digging around in 1384, I ran across this one up there on the right. The reason I call it questionable carving is that we often find some very interesting sand carving that almost looks like writing. When you place a soft sedimentary rock like sandstone or mudstone in an environment of wind-blown sand, you can get some pretty interesting effects given enough time. This is a good-sized piece, covered with parallel lines, squares, circles, and other figures that seem to be laid out in such a neat, regular pattern that it has all the earmarks of purposeful carving. Here's another example that I shared with you in an earlier episode. This is one I found in Neville Thompson's Gigapan of 1285. Now I know it's blurry because of the high magnification, but this looks an awful lot like the facade to a building, to my eyes. The capper for me is the two parallel lines that frame the carvings. Anyway, due to the regular layout of the characters on this piece, I feel pretty confident in saying this is artificial, an ancient carving that is both decorative and I believe tells a story as well. As soon as I can read Paleo-Martian, I'll share that story with you. Keith Laney is a former NASA image analyst who creates some beautiful gigapans, as well as pointing out some really interesting anomalies. We're interested today in that boulder way back there in the target area. Pretty strange, isn't it? We're all human. Well, at least most of us are. And our natural tendency to see faces is part of our psychological wiring. It's a survival mechanism that we call pareidolia. Besides the strangely even shaping of this rock, we see a nose, a mouth, an eye, an ear on the left side, a hairline, and then there's that strange little doohickey on the top side that might be rocks behind the boulder and not actually part of it. But at this distance, the parallax can't give us a definitive answer. So, why do I call this one RoboBust 2.0? Because it reminded me of this MastCam image from Misha Dreszczyk's Star Archives. I know it's not identical, but it is similar in some respects. By the way, Misha was done dirty by Facebook. Some snowflake bozo reported his amazing site for no reason, and it was summarily removed by Zuckerberg's Nazis. Misha had been amassing hundreds and hundreds of outstanding anomalies selected over the years, and his star archives were a must-see for any serious anomalist, and now it's all gone. All of us truly hope that Misha will create another venue and bring his keen eye and insightful intellect back to our global community. Meanwhile, zuck you, Facebook. Well, I sure appreciate you stopping by today. And I'm wondering, are these videos too long? I know for newbies at X3D, I'm just trying to keep it reasonably short so that you don't have eye strain. And of course, you guys that are black belts already, you can do this all day long and never feel a thing other than just transported to another world. Let me know. In any case, I sure appreciate a thumbs up if you feel like giving one. If you've got an anomaly or something strange you'd like me to look at, simply email it to me with a link and a photo, and I'll have a look. So this is your buddy Dave over at Mars X3D. Be well.